Hello and welcome to this video. Now in this video we are going to discuss about functions. Now what a function means in Python. So a function is basically a block of code which can only run when it is called. Alright, so you can pass data known as parameters into a function which can return the data as a result when the function is called. Alright. So in order to create a function, you'll be using a software or you can say a program in this video which is called Jupyter Notebook. So Jupyter Notebook is basically an open source web-based application which allows you to run your live code, and you can say you can allows you to create and share documents, equations, visualizations, and narrative text. All right. So if you have installed Anaconda in your system, Jupyter Notebook must be installed alongside. Alright, so open up the Start menu and search for Jupyter Notebook. Alright, you can see after I just selected the Jupyter Notebook, eventually this console window appears and opens up this server at this address. Alright, so this is a local host. So this is how a Jupyter Notebook looks like. So let me just zoom it to 125%, and I just created a folder named as YouTube tutorials. Okay, so you can create a folder by going over new and creating a folder. Okay, all right. So just create a folder and I will go inside it. I've already created IPynb file, so I'll be creating one more IPynb file over here. Alright, so this is my new IPynb file. I'll be renaming it to functions in Python. Alright, so this is how a Jupyter Notebook looks like. Alright, so let me just say you something about this, like the Jupyter Notebook. So this is a Jupyter Notebook, how it looks like, and these long rectangular boxes are called a cell in Jupyter Notebook. Alright, so these are some of the options like file, edit, view, and some. And this is a basic toolbar which contains some of the operations like run. You can interrupt the kernel if there is a malfunction inside your code. You can also restart the kernel. Alright, you can change this to code. So this is like this way, like is in code. So if I would change this to markdown, you can say this is now markdown. Alright, so back to code. Alright, so let me just show you how to define a function in Python. So we'll be using a keyword called def, which is a built-in keyword in Python. So def in order to define a function. Alright, let me just give a name to my function like my func with opening and closing brackets, giving a colon and saying print hello from this function. Okay, so in order to run a cell in Jupyter Notebook, just either click this run button over here, or you can click shift with enter to run your cell. Okay, so I ran my function named as my func successfully over here. So it's time now to call the function over here like my func with opening and closing brackets, and I would press shift plus enter. You can say hello from this function. Alright, so we have defined a function named as myfunc, which will be printing out hello from this function when the function will be called. So we call the function, and this is the output hello from this function. So this was like a basic way of representation, like how to represent, or you can say how to define a function in Python. Alright, so there are two keywords like I would say to focus on, parameters and arguments. So many of the beginner like confused between what is a parameter and what is an argument in a function. So let me just tell you the difference between parameters and argument. Like parameter is something like it's a variable that is listed inside these curly braces when defining a function. Now what is an argument then? Now argument is like a value which is given to a function when it is called. Alright, so let me show you an example like upon what is a parameter and what is an argument. Alright, so let me just declare another function named as my func2, okay, which have two parameters named as let's say first name and second name. Alright, and I would say return I would say print using f strings. I would say your name is, let me just pass one parameter over here, okay, your name is first name. Alright, so we just declared, or you can say we just define a function named as my func2, which have a parameter named as first name, and the function, and when the function will be called, it will be printing out your name. And alright, so if I would press shift and enter, okay, so we ran this function, and I would again call this function over here like my func2. So here I'll be giving an argument. So I call the function, so and I'll be giving a value which is known as an argument. So I'll be giving as Somesh. Alright. So if I would run it again, you can see it's giving me an output like your name is Somesh. So you can give any name like Frankie. You can say your name is Frankie. Alright, so this is like a basic difference between how to pass a parameter and how to give arguments to a function when it is called. Alright, so let me just like show you another example of argument. Okay, so let's say def my my function tree, which have a parameter named as first name, it will be eventually printing f name. Alright, string concatenation and string as let's say hello f name. Alright, so it'll be printing hello, and here what the value of f name will be passed hello and the value of f name while the function will be called. Alright, so let me call the function in our next cell. Alright, so I will call my func3 and press opening and give opening and close parenthesis. Inside it I will be giving a argument, or you can say a value to my function as Bill. Okay, so I would say the function will say hello Bill. Now what I did, that this is like a similar way like I did over this, so this is like just one more example to clear your doubt. Alright, how to like use how to pass parameters and how to give arguments when a function is called. Okay, now this was something basic about functions in Python. Alright, so at last I want to show you how to add two numbers. Like if I would say how to add two numbers using a function. Alright, so you can say like I would say defining a function, so def add two numbers, and I will be giving two parameters like first number and the second parameter is second number. Alright, so when the function will be called, so it will return first number plus second number. Alright, so if I would run this cell over here, we can see we successfully ran our cell, and we'll be calling this function by giving two arguments. Alright, so now I would say that print using a string and then say result equals curly braces, name of the function, add two numbers, and here we'll give two arguments, let's say 10 and 20. Alright, if I run it, you can say result is 30. Alright, so this video was about how to work around with functions in Python. Alright, so let me just tell you once again. So in order to define a function in Python, we use a keyword called def, which is a built-in keyword in Python. After that, we'll be giving a name to a function. Here I have given my func. Then we'll be giving an opening and close parenthesis, which is like the way of representing a function in Python, and a colon, then indenting this block of statement. Like this is like while I press enter and the cursor automatically comes over here instead of going there. This is called the indentation in Python. Alright, so it will be automatically indented upon you press enter. So my func will print hello from this function upon like when the function will be called, my func will be printing hello from this function. Alright, so what did I did next? I called the function and it returned an output named as hello from this function. Okay, now in this function what I did, like I said, define a function, add two numbers which have two parameters named as first number and second number, which will be returning first number plus second number upon calling this function. So in my second line, in my second cell, I said that print using fstring result using curly braces. I call the function over here by giving two arguments, which is 10 and 20, and eventually when I run it, the result is 30. So basically what it did, it add the two numbers 10 and 20. Alright, so this video was about functions, how to work around with functions in Python. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.